myself all the things I love. Like I need a traffic jam to keep in touch. I can't focus on the words unless my hands are busy. I can't give up on the world or I will leave this city. And it's way too broad what I'm trying to say, but I write it down and let it go. And it's hard to know all the words I need to explain my heart in a single note.
Hello, welcome to Way Too Close to Christmas to understand how scheduling should work for this podcast. Yes, this is Hannah, one of your co-hosts, here to let you know that there will not be an episode this week. I know it's been very in and out, and we don't always tell you, but I thought this week we should. Just some scheduling difficulties. We will get back to a normal schedule once the holidays pass. We'll certainly need the entertainment in our lives when there's no more Christmas or New Year's, and hopefully you will too. But yeah, I hope you guys are having, or had, I guess this comes out on the 26th. So I hope y'all had a very nice Christmas if you celebrate. And the next time that we talk to you, I believe, it'll be 2022. So I hope that you have a lovely rest of your year, and we'll catch you next year. I thought, since my voice is pretty much back and I'm here anyway, I would do another chapter of book post show. Well, it's usually post show book club with Hannah. I thought I'd do another chapter of Ella Enchanted, even though there is no show to be post. So I'm going to do that real quick. We are on chapter 5. So as a recap, because it's been a couple of weeks or more, Ella Enchanted is a reimagining of the Cinderella story. In this book, Ella, the main character Ella, had a curse / technically the person who gave it to her thought it was a gift of obedience given to her when she was a baby, which means that she can't disobey any direct orders. And if she does, she has physical symptoms, and eventually her body just takes over and makes her do it. Her mother passed away so far. Her father came back to sort of manage her life, and he was a big piece of shit, and is a big piece of shit. She met the woman whose name I always forget, who's going to be her evil stepmother type character, and her 2 daughters. And they were also pieces of shit, very obsessed with wealth. And also she found out that her cook, who she's known since she was a baby, is actually her fairy godmother. But in what I think is a very cool twist on fairies, most fairies, besides this one Lucinda who gave her curse, do not do big magic because they're immortal and they've been around long enough to know that nothing good ever comes of it. So that's pretty neat. And that's pretty much... Oh, and she met Char, who is the prince. And her father told her that he's going to might be sending her to finishing school with her 2 evil future stepsisters. So that's where we are. And here's chapter 5. The next night, I had to dine with Father. I had trouble sitting down at the table because Bertha had made me wear a fashionable gown. My petticoat was voluminous. On Father's plate and mine was sparrow grass covered with a tarragon mustard sauce. In front of his plate was a many-faceted crystal goblet. When I finally managed to settle in my chair, Father signaled to Nathan to pour wine into the goblet. "See how it catches the light, Eleanor?" He raised it. "It makes the wine sparkle like a garnet. It's pretty." "Is that all? Just pretty?" "It's very pretty, I suppose." I refused to love it. He was going to sell it too. "You may appreciate it more if you drink from it. Have you ever tasted wine?" Mandy never... I'm having trouble saying the name Mandy, who is the cook, the fairy godmother cook. Mandy never let me. I reached for the goblet and trailed my balloon sleeves through the sparrowgrass sauce. But the goblet was too far away. I had to stand. I stood on my skirt and lost my balance, pitching forward. To stop my fall, I brought my arm crashing down on the table and knocked into Father's elbow. He dropped the goblet. It fell and broke neatly into 2 pieces, stem severed from body. A red stain spread across the tablecloth, and Father's doublet was dotted with wine. I steeled myself for his rage, but he surprised me. That was stupid of me, he said, dabbing at his clothes with a napkin. When you came in, I saw you couldn't manage yourself. I feel like, look, I've held probably more goblets than, this is Hannah, this is commentary. I've held probably more goblets than like the average 21st century middle-class American because the company I work for sells them. And I feel like that's maybe on the person that made the goblet, because falling from a table to the floor and breaking so neatly like that, if it's shattered, like that's one thing. But that feels like maybe it wasn't connected well enough. I'm just saying. What do I know? I'm not a merchant. I guess I am, kind of. Sort of. Anyway. Nathan and a serving maid whisked away the tablecloth and broken glass. I apologize, I said. That won't put the crystal back together, will it? He snapped, then collected himself. Your apology is accepted. We will both change our clothes and begin our meal. I returned in a quarter hour in an everyday gown. It is my fault, Father said, cutting into a sparrowgrass spear. I've let you grow up an oaf. I'm not an oaf. Mandy wasn't one to mince words, and she'd never called me that. Clumsy, bumbling, gawky, but never an oaf. Blunderer, lumpkin, fumblefoot, but never an oaf. But you're young enough to learn, Father went on. Someday, I may take you into civilized company. I don't like civilized company. I may need civilized company to like you. I've made up my mind. It's off to finishing school with you. I couldn't go. I wouldn't. You said I could have a governess. Wouldn't that be less expensive than sending me away? A serving maid whisked away my uneaten sparrowgrass and replaced it with scallops and tomato aspic. How kind of you to worry. A governess would be much more expensive. And I have the time to interview governesses. Sorry, I haven't the time to interview governesses. In 2 days, you shall go to finishing school with Dame Olga's daughters. Ah, Dame Olga, that's her name. I won't, he continued as though I hadn't spoken. I'll write a letter to the headmistress, which I shall entrust to you, along with a purse filled with enough KJs to stop her protests against a last-minute pupil. I won't go. You shall do as I say, Eleanor. I won't go. Ella, he bit into a scallop and spoke while he chewed. Your father is not a good man, as the servants have already warned you, unless I miss my guess. I didn't deny it. They may have said I'm selfish, and I am. They may have said I'm impatient, and I am. They may have said I always have my way, and I do. I do too, I lied. He grinned at me admiringly. My daughter is the bravest wench in Kyria. The smile vanished, and his mouth tightened into a hard, thin line. But she shall go to finishing school if I have to take her there myself, and it will not be a pleasant trip if I have to lose time from my trading because of you. Do you understand, Ella? Angry, Father reminded me of a carnival toy, a leather fist attached to a coiled spring used in puppet shows. When the spring was released, the fist shot out at a hapless puppet. With Father, it wasn't the fist that frightened me. It was the spring, because the spring determined the force of the blow. The anger in his eyes was so tightly coiled that I didn't know what would happen if his spring were tripped. I hated being frightened, but I was. I'll go to finishing school. I couldn't help adding, but I shall loathe it. His grin was back. You are free to loathe or to love it as long as you go. It was a taste of obedience without an order, and I didn't like it any better than the Lucinda-induced kind. Lucinda is the fairy who gave her the curse gift. I left the dining room, and he didn't stop me. Sorry, I moved the mic somehow. It was early evening. In spite of the hour, I went up to my room and donned my nightgown. Then I moved my dolls, Flora and Rosamund, into bed and climbed in. They had stopped sleeping with me years before, but tonight I needed special comfort. I gathered them to my stomach and waited for sleep, but sleep was busy elsewhere. Tears started. I pushed Flora against my face. Sweetie, the door opened. It was Mandy with tonic and a box. By the way, I don't remember any of the voices I did. I'm certain I didn't do accents, except for like the weird Dame Olga one, but I don't know what I did for Mandy, so forgive me. Anyway, Mandy came in with tonic. I felt bad enough. No tonic, Mandy. I'm fine. Truly. Oh, lovey. She put down the tonic and the box and held me, stroking my forehead. I don't want to go, I said into her shoulder. I know, honey, she said. She held me for a long while, until I was almost asleep. Then she shifted her weight. Tonic time. I'll skip tonight. No, you won't. Not tonight especially. I won't have you getting sick when you need your strength. A spoon came out of her apron. Take it, 3 spoons. I braced myself. Tonic was nutty and good, but it felt slimy, like swallowing a frog. Each spoonful oozed along my throat. I continued to gulp after it was down to rid myself of the sensation. But it made me feel better. A little better. Ready to talk anyway. I settled myself back in Mandy's lap. Why did Mother marry him? This question had troubled me since I was old enough to think about it. Until she was his wife, Sir Peter was very sweet to Lady. I didn't trust him, but she wouldn't listen to me. Her family didn't approve because he was poor, which made Lady want him even more. She was that kind-hearted. I know I read that badly. Mandy's hand stopped its comforting journey up and down my forehead. Ella, pet, try to keep him from learning about the spell on you. Why? What would he do? He likes to have his way too much. He'd use you. Mother ordered me not to tell about the curse, but I wouldn't anyway. That's right. Her hand went back to work on my forehead. I closed my eyes. What will it be like, do you think? At school? Well, some of the lasses will be lovely. Sit up, sweet. Do you want your presents? I had forgotten about the box, but there had been only one. Presents? One at a time. Mandy handed me the box I'd seen. For you, wherever you go your whole life. Inside the box was a book of fairy tales. I had never seen such beautiful illustrations. They were almost alive. I turned the pages, marveling. When you look at it, you can remember me and take comfort. I'll save it until I leave, so the stories will be new. Mandy chuckled. You won't finish it so fast. It grows on you. She fished in the pocket of her apron and fetched out a tissue paper packet. From Lady. She would have wanted you to have it. It was Mother's necklace. Threads of silver ended almost at my waist in a woven pattern of silver studded with tiny pearls. I've always thought this necklace sounded so beautiful. I wish that there were more illustrations of it. Actually, like all the jewelry in this book sounds incredible. You'll grow into it, sweet, and look as lovely wearing it as your mother did. I'll wear it always. You'd be wise to keep it under your gown when you go out. It's that valuable. Gnomes made it. The bell tinkled downstairs. That father of yours is ringing. I hugged Mandy and clung to her. She disentangled from my arms. Let me go, love. Planting a kiss on my cheek, she left. I settled back into bed, and this time sleep claimed me. So that's chapter 5. Chapter 6 will be next time, which hopefully will be next week, voice allowing. I wanted to say about the book, not to spoil the movie, but it's, vastly inferior anyway. In the movie, the book that Mandy just gave Ella is in the movie, but instead of being like a book of fairy tales, it's it's a book that Mandy accidentally put her boyfriend's soul into, and so it's like a talking book that is her boyfriend, and it's weird, and I hate it. And Mandy is played by Minnie Driver, and while she does a great job, she's certainly not like an old kitchen witch looking person like in the book. So overall, just another reason why the book Ella Enchanted is better, and the book Mandy gives Ella in the book Ella Enchanted is better than the book Mandy gives Ella in the movie. That was such a confusing configuration of statements, but here we are. So yeah, that's this chapter, and I'll catch you around for the next one. Again, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and much love to you all. And there is no podcast candle because there is no podcast. So have a beautiful day.
Fine lines, find the fine time, shine a little vice, and slow down, in the vice, ding down, hey, that's all, the fine